Welcome to Take Two with Freddy. Real talk about second chances, real life, and the power of rewriting your story. I'm Freddy Freundlich, entrepreneur, mentor, and storyteller. And here's the deal. If I didn't walk it, I don't talk it. Each week, we'll spend about 20 to 30 minutes laughing, reflecting, and hopefully walking away a little more inspired than when we came in. So what's on my mind today? A little acronym I love, W.I.I.F.M. You ask, what's that? Sounds like a radio station out of New York City, right? Nope, not that. What W.I.I.F.M. stands for is what's in it for me. And here's the thing, whether we know it or not, every one of us asks that question dozens of times a day. Sometimes consciously, but mostly unconsciously. It drives nearly every decision we make. Now, when I talk about this on stage or in one of my books, I usually get a bit of pushback. People will say, Freddie, that sounds so selfish. People aren't really like that. And my answer is, maybe it does sound selfish, but selfish isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like almost everything in life, it's a double-edged sword. It depends on what you do with it. When we hear the word selfish, we tend to think greedy, uncaring, self-centered. But think about it. Even acts of kindness, giving charity, helping a neighbor, showing up for a friend, they often come from some personal motive. Maybe we want to feel useful. Maybe we want to be liked. Maybe we just want to sleep better at night. Or maybe we just enjoy the good feeling of helping people. And you know what? That doesn't make it bad. It just makes it real. There are people who give from the heart. Their time, their money, their love. And even they are getting something in return. What they're getting, only they know. And sometimes even they don't realize exactly what it is, but it's there. Peace of mind, a sense of purpose, a spiritual high. That's the W.I.I.F.M. gene in action used for good. It's very important that we remember that people, whether it's for good or for bad, always have a reason. It may not be a good reason, it may not be a bad reason, it may be something that they have misinformation, but we all do things for a reason, and that reason is always predicated by the W.I.I.F.M. gene. So then this service, one of the highest expressions of that gene, certainly in the positive sense. Service isn't about being seen. It's about doing something for someone else and not needing a thank you. You can serve in a soup kitchen or serve someone emotionally by just listening. You can volunteer. You can mentor. Sometimes just showing up can be the best kind of service. And again, you still get something out of it. But it's no longer just about you. Sometimes I've heard people say times are tough. You meet people who are like 30 years old and still living with their parents, and they say, I can't afford to move out. Or others say, the world has changed. It's terrible. It was so much better back then. But let's be honest, we've become comfortable. We've become really spoiled. Our parents and grandparents sacrificed so much just of the basics. And because we think we've got all the time in the world, we've lost some of that urgency. We postpone life. We coast. We tell ourselves we'll change tomorrow. But tomorrow is just an idea. What we have is today, the now. This podcast is called Take Two. But let me be straight with you. There are no real do-overs in life. No clean slates, no magic reset button. But if you want to know where the magic is, it's simply this. Every single day is a new take. Whether we take advantage of it or not, it's a new take. It's not that we failed the first time and now we get to try again. It's that every morning when we wake up with the power to do something different. That's your take too. And that brings me to a book that literally changed my life. It's called The Power of Now, and I think I've mentioned it before. It was written by Eckhart Tolle. His message is very simple. His message is simple, but it's hard to live by. And it's also a book that may be a little bit difficult to read, but the message is very clear. The only thing that's real is this moment. Not yesterday, not next week, now. When we live in the present, we stop being stuck in regret. We stop being paralyzed by fear of tomorrow, of the future. And we actually gain the power to choose again. Over and over and over again, we are given this power. Whether we use it or not is again simply up to us. We always have the choice. So let me share something personal with you. As many of you know, a few years ago, I wrote a book called Born on the Right Side of the Tracks. And I'll tell you straight up, writing a book, it's not the greatest business decision in the world. Very few people get rich on writing a book. In fact, most of the time, it costs you more than it actually brings in. So why did I write it? I was perfectly aware of it. But obviously, if I wrote it, there had to be something in it for me. Well, personally, I carried around a lot of guilt and shame from my childhood. Things I'd never really spoken about. That book was therapy for me. That was me getting out of my system and into the world. It was one of the best decisions I ever made. But I also wrote it because I had this hope that maybe, just maybe, my story could help someone else. Someone like me who was carrying around guilt or shame, someone who felt overlooked, someone who didn't feel like they belonged. And what I came to find out, that it helped a lot of people, and many of those people didn't have those issues. They had other things which I never even imagined. People would often ask me, who's this book for? And I say, with all honesty and humility, anyone who's ever been a child or raised one. Some people might say that sounds selfless, but if I'm being honest, it was one of the most selfish things I've ever done in the best way. Because when I help others, I really do help myself. When someone tells me the book made them feel good, feel less alone, I feel great. I feel useful. I feel I'm connected. One example that still sticks with me, in the book, I talk about being 6 years old and stealing money from my mother's purse to buy candy. And I wanted to give it out to my friends in school. I got caught, and of course I was punished, both by my parents and the school. But more important, for years I carried around this shame, thinking I was the only kid who ever did something like that. When the book came out, I was about 50 years old. And all of a sudden, all kinds of people told me, oh yeah, I did the same thing. Isn't this crazy that I did something which in retrospect was, I don't say everybody did, but was not a big deal for a 6-year-old kid, but I carried around this secret as if I was a mass murderer. And what I want to share with you guys is everybody has their stuff. And we tend to carry these secrets around like we're the only ones, but we're not, not even close. And that's part of the message, too. We all think we're alone in our guilt, in our shame, in our struggles, whatever we did. But we're not. We just haven't talked about it enough. That doesn't mean you need to announce to the world, like I did in my book, all my dirty little secrets. But believe me, you don't want to keep it tucked away inside of you. It does you no good. And that's another part of the reason why I started this podcast. I don't know if this episode will change your life, but I know this. Every time I speak, it changes mine. It helps me heal. And that's what's in it for me. And I also have to give credit where credit is due. And that's to my wife, Leslie. One day she looked at me, lovingly, of course, and said, "Freddy, you've got a big mouth. Why don't you use it for good and start a podcast?" And thank God I listened. Helping others is beautiful, but showing up for myself, that's what keeps me going. So let me ask you guys something. Before your feet hit the floor tomorrow morning, ask yourself, what's in it for me? Because whether you realize it or not, you're already asking that question. The difference is simply whether you're asking it on autopilot or consciously. And even if you think your life is perfect right now, let me tell you something. We don't know what we don't know. A friend of mine once told me, she said, if I had known 10 years ago that making this certain change would bring me this kind of happiness, I would have done it 10 years ago. So ask yourselves right now, what possibilities are there out there for me? Even if my life is going great, there's so much undiscovered, so much more I can get out of life. But it's never perfect. And that's part of the challenge. We wait for perfection. Even if everything is going to you today great, it's the best day you have, and I wish every day should be like that. There's always going to be something that nags at you. That's part of the human experience. So don't wait for perfection. Don't wait until the job, the body, the relationship, the bank account is perfect. Ask yourself today, what would make me feel alive right now? You know, I ask many of my executive clients this question all the time. It's the genie question. I say to them, if Aladdin's genie from the lamp showed up and gave you 3 wishes, what would you ask for? More often than not, these successful, smart, high-achieving people say, I don't know. To me, that's really sad. Because here's the thing. If you don't know what you want, the genie's going to move on to the next person. And this is not a fairy tale. The genie does appear. May not appear like we see it in the movies or the storybooks, but that genie does appear every single day. Sometimes in a quiet moment, a passing thought, a gentle nudge. And if you're not ready with an answer, that moment passes. So take a moment, reflect. What's in it for you today? And if you don't like the answer, remember, you don't have to change your whole life. In fact, I urge you not to change your whole life. When people start looking at changing their whole life, they normally don't achieve anything. When we talk about the 50 pounds we're going to lose, the $10 million we're going to earn, the masters we're going to get when we haven't even a bachelor's. Chances are these things don't happen because life gets in the way. Too much stuff going on. But if you concentrate on just today, on the now, on what your next step is, that is when the magic happens. That's the miracle of now. This podcast is called Take Two for a reason. Life rarely goes as planned, but we always have the power to take one more shot. When? Now. Whatever. Remember, in life, you almost always have a choice. Do I go left or right? These can be simple, mind-numbing choices, but we have a choice. We don't have to take the path which has the deepest rut in it, the easiest path. Because the deeper we dig that rut, the harder it will be to get out. Forge a new path. And you say, how? But I have all these different challenges. I'm not this, I'm not that, I need to do this, I need to do that. And I urge you, right now, take a step. If you normally go left, go right. If you normally go right, go left. Do something different. You know, I'm sure you've all seen the old school film director yell take two with clapping the thing in the movie. It's not just about erasing the first take. It's about stepping back in, this time with a little more light, a little more reflection, a little more truth, a little more heart, because we've seen take one and now we can move on to take two. Guys, thanks for spending this time with me on Take Two with Freddy. If something resonated with you today, if you've got little clarity, or even just took a deep breath, that's a win. Every week, I'll be sharing stories, thoughts, and sometimes even advice, but only the kind I've earned the right to give. And if I ever get it wrong, please call me out. As I say, I'm still learning too. If something in today's episode spoke to you, please share it, pass it on, like it. Let someone else know they've got another shot too. Be good to yourself. Remember, you've got more in you than you can ever imagine. We'll see you next week.